So you want to make a coffee. First you want to make sure that you've got enough water. If you don't have enough water, when you turn on the machine, this will be blinking red. This is red because my machine needs to be scaled. Yeah. This is the on and off button. So just press it once, turns on, press it once, turns off. So here are your options for shots. You can either choose 1 or 2 shots. I'm choosing 2 because that's what I always do. So to make 2 shots, you're going to need almost 1 full cup of a quarter cup of coffee beans. That's basically 18 grams, and that makes a perfect 2 shot, which is this basket. So what I've got here is a group head. These two, so this is a basket, and I've got a 2 shot here and a 1 shot. I'm not using the 1 shot, so I'm going to put that away. 2 shot, so with the baskets, they just go into the group head and they click in. Nice. And then you want to put this onto that. So this is a dosing and tamping guide. Basically, it just goes onto there. It's got these little grooves, and then you just turn it in until it clicks. And then to take it out, you just unclick it. So that's not coming off. That goes into that spot there, which is where the grinds come out of. So before I put my coffee beans in there, I'm gonna put the lid back on. So this next part here is the grind regulation. Mine's on 6, and that basically, this just determines how fine your coffee grind is. 1 is very fine, and 8 is very coarse. So I've got it on 6. That's probably the best I've found. And then over here it's the dosage level, so that just shows like 40 is basically like a lot, like the max amount that it can grind. And then over here is the minimum amount that it can grind. So for a 2 shot, I found that 19 is the best because it fills it up pretty much perfectly every time. So once you've got that all set, all you have to do is push. Right, so that just finished, and pulled it out. So what I did there was, there's a little button in the back here. So if you push that, it activates the grinder, and with this inside that slot, you can push it in there and it'll just fill up the group head. So now this has got a bunch of grinds in it. So I'm going to take it over to this little thing here. So that's very important. That's what you're going to use to tamp the grinds into the basket. So what you do is you hold this with your left hand, and then with your right hand you take this, and basically you want to make that flat. So what I do is I like shake it a little bit sometimes. Basically just put a little bit of pressure on it, basically just flop it in. And you see how it's not like it's on an angle? We don't want that. We want it to be as flat as possible. So I'm going to adjust it like that. And then I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on it. This is why you're holding over here so it doesn't move. Put a little bit of pressure. Bear with me. Shake off the rest, take it out. There's going to be some grinds around it. That's okay, just dust them straight in. And then you just take your hand. So holding it with left hand here, unscrew this, tap whatever's on there in there. So now you've got a bunch of grinds in there. It should be relatively flat, but to make it perfect, and this is very necessary, you basically have to take your tamp and go over it again as flat and level as possible, and then put 15 kilograms of pressure onto it, which isn't a lot, it's just a slight press. Pull that out, and then just take the rest of those dusts and sweep them back in there. So it's nice and clean around it. That's what it looks like. So it's very, very nice. That will be a nice extraction. So then once I've got that, I go ahead and I put it into the coffee machine here. So you gotta insert it at an angle. It'll have a little arrow that says insert. That's basically where you put it in. And then to close it, you have to turn it this way until it doesn't turn anymore. Basically, it doesn't even have to be that much, just so it faces you, like that. If it's not fitting in there very easily and like it's trying to move the whole machine as you turn it, then you've got too much grinds in your basket. And if it's really easy to put in there, chances are you don't have enough. But with this setting over here that we did, it should be perfect every time. So basically now that that's in there, I can choose what I want to do with it. So espresso is what we're doing. Over here is the temperature. Always want to have it on the hottest, and that's just for the milk. And then also this button here will activate these. So you could do espresso, long black, or hot water. Never use the long black because it's just a combination of these two. You only ever need the espresso for this, or the hot water for making tea or anything like that, and that hot water comes out of the spout over here. So yeah. So you gotta get your mug or your cup or your shot glass, and you gotta put it straight under there, and then you press OK. And then that will do the job for you, and you just gotta wait until it's completely finished to move on. It doesn't look like a lot, and that's why you use quite a bit of milk. But you can see right here that it's got a bit of cream on top, and then the rest is just dark at the bottom. It separates into two layers, and that is perfect. That's what you want. So while that's happening, I'm gonna put some milk in my jug. So these come with a small, this is technically a small milk jug. I don't use those, but if you're gonna use it because you don't have a bigger one, I bought a bigger one just because that's what I'm used to. I like the bigger ones. It gives you more space to froth. But with these ones, you're basically frothing up to the top, and it doesn't give you a lot of milk. So if I use that one, it would probably only give me up to here of milk. But using this one, I have more control of how much milk to put in there. I got this jug from Kmart, but I'm sure they sell it in Big W. It's not expensive at all. It's probably $4 or $5, but you never know with inflation. Anyway, so with the milk, you basically pour in to just about the line where your spout ends. There's a little bump there, and that's basically where you want to pour the milk to with the big jug. With the small jug that your coffee machine will come with, that equals about halfway on that spout. A little bit less than halfway. It's about there. But yeah. So for the milk, you need to grab a clean towel, hand towel. Doesn't matter what you use, but I've been taught that these are the best, the microfiber ones, the soft, sort of fluffy-ish ones. This is for the milk spout, so you just wipe it with that towel and only use that towel for the milk spout until you're finished. So yeah, basically, hopefully you can see it, but basically you're gonna wanna bring your coffee machine to like a corner so that this area you can actually fit your milk jug underneath, because you're gonna have to pull it out to that much basically, and that interferes with the bench, so I have to pull it to the corner just to do that part. So when you go to froth your milk, you pull out the nozzle, and this button here on the edge activates the milk. So when you press that, the hot water is going to come out. So only press that when your milk jug, that part is actually already in the milk. Otherwise it's going to hit you with a bunch of steaming hot water. So here we go. I'm going to put my milk into, I'm going to put the spout into the milk. instead of holding it straight like this, put it at a slight angle and make sure that tip is only just under the milk. And then basically we want to swirl it around after I activate the button, swirl it around a little bit so that the hot water can distribute into the milk. And then we just want to hold it in one spot just off the center here. I'll show you. So swirl it around, so activate the button, swirl it around a bit, and then bring it over here and just hold it there. And as the milk rises, because it naturally will as it foams up, you want to just bring your jug down so that that hose stays in the same spot just under the surface. It might take some practice. This is probably the hardest part of making coffee, is the milk, so just take some practice. And now this part also, when you hit that button, count to about 80 seconds. I like to do 90 because I like really hot milk, but that just makes sure that your milk is nice and hot and it's not just lukewarm. So yeah, this next part I'm just going to be doing the milk. So counting to 90 starting by now. Well, starting from, wait for it, now. So I'm at about 60 seconds now, and the milk is rising more and more, so I'm bringing the cup down more and more, just very slowly. It's creating a lot of foam in there. So it's about 70 seconds in, I've got 20 seconds left. The milk is now up to this point. It almost looks like it wants to jump out, but I'm trying to hold it in that same spot as best as possible, just bringing the cup a little bit further down every time. So I've got about 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. This next part you have to work very fast, so turn off the thing, bring your cup over here. You want to take your wet cloth and you want to clean that off. This is very important. If you leave it on there, it's going to dry. It's going to be so much harder to take off. So what I like to do is I like to wipe it very, very well until I can't see any more foam on there, and then stuff that towel under it and just press the button and let it blow for a couple of seconds. With the milk, tap it, swirl it. This will keep the bubbles with the milk underneath. Turn that off. Tap it again. It's just we're trying to not separate the foam from the milk, and as quickly as you can after you've foamed it, you pour it into your coffee. And I'm not dunking it all in, I'm just gently letting the hot water past the foam. And this is just to make a latte. If I wanted to make a cappuccino, and you can see it very well with this glass because it's see-through, a latte is mainly just hot water and then a little bit of foam. A cappuccino would be more foam. So you can see the foam starts from there and it goes up. This has basically just got foam left in it. So I can just literally kind of just shake the cup so that the foam comes out into there. That's a bit of a trashy looking cappuccino, but it's because the foam is now sort of solidified in its state, and that's why you want to work quickly. If I did that all really quickly, then this would be in there nice and flat. So yeah, and then you just dust your chocolate over the top. But unfortunately, that's not to clean this. That's fine, that can happen last. But this part is what you want to do as soon as possible too. So we disconnected that. And now there's that coffee in there. You can actually save this and give it to your plants. I'm just dumping it in the bin. Sometimes it's very stubborn and it's actually easier to just pop your basket out, which means you got to find that little hole there and you got to basically pop it out. And now that this is out, it can be hot, so be careful. Sorry. You just kind of knock it out. And then you're left with this little cake of coffee. So I'm just collecting that in a basket for the plants. So then you wash everything, but with the group head, you just want to quickly rinse it. Rinse that, rinse this. It seems a little chaotic, but bear with me. Click it back into there. Bring it back to your coffee machine. Stick it back in. Okay. Have something underneath it to catch it. Like this milk jug, just because it's there and it's dirty, you could just use a cup. But anyway, you just press the button to activate another cycle of espresso. And that's just going to pump out hot water and sort of clean out the inside. So let that do its thing. We can take this towel away now. I think that's pretty good. But for a deep clean on the hose, which you want to do about once a week if you're using your coffee machine every day, you take a clean cup of water, you put it in there. Put the hose in the water in that cup, and then just press this, and then it'll like heat up and all of this stuff will flush out. You can do it every day, but as long as you're keeping that hose clean, it's not really necessary. So now that that's done, cleaned out the inside of here, if I pull this out, you'll see water in there. So just get rid of that. And you'll see actually a couple of little beans, grinds of the coffee beans under there. So then I like to just do one more without it. One more extraction. It's just gonna put a bunch of water out. Now you can wash this. Now that that's done, you can take that away. Now I'm gonna use a clean part of this towel, and I'm just gonna wipe underneath that whole surface there on the inside of this, and that'll actually take out quite a bit of dirt. Now if you just leave that, it'll build up, and oh my god, it will ruin your coffee every time because it's just old beans and crap stuck in there. So this is very important to do after every use, even if you're making like one after the other. And now the last step of this cleaning process is, I can turn it off now, is to actually pull out the tray. And every single time you use it, you have to pull this tray out and tip out that water. It's very gross. But every once a week or so, you want to actually wash every part of this. So this comes apart, and you want to wash that metal tray. This part comes out. You want to wash this. And you want to wash this too. It's just 3 parts that you got to wash at least once a week. And then let it all dry and put it back together again. And that's it. That you make a coffee.